our reality can sometimes be really confusing. And, you kind of go like, well, I don't understand what's true. I don't understand how this can work. I don't understand how, how this all fits together. So it makes more sense if you look at it like this, is that we all operate on just different levels of consciousness, different levels of existence. That's how it makes sense for me. So the first level is the physical level, the body. Everything that's material, your whole world, that's what belongs in that plane. And then the next level, what also belongs in that plane is the sensations of the body. But this is just purely the sensations, like, if you stub your toe, if somebody touches you. Pleasurable sensations as well. And then the next level, which is a little bit more subtle because you can't actually see it, is your emotional level. And that is sensations, the emotions are triggered sensations by your thinking. You have an emotion because you think about a particular thing in a particular way. So you look at something and it scares you, so you feel fear and the body gives you the corresponding sensation. So the next level, what connects the physical level to the level of the mind is breath. Because the breath is an exchange of energy, for a better word, of prana, they call it in Sanskrit, life force energy, that happens from the physical and goes into the ethereal. And so the breath can influence the emotions. I mean, everyone knows like how you just take a deep breath when you need to calm yourself down. And the same, if you're scared or excited, your breathing will speed up. The mental level, the level of the mind, is the next subtle level, and that it's kind of like it's divided into several levels, and the first level is connected to the body. So the thoughts that happen on that level are pretty much concerned with this reality. What's happening to you, about the people around you, what's happening in the world. And those thoughts are really busy. It's like that, those are like the monkey mind. They're concerned with information, with facts and pieces of information, but there isn't a deeper knowledge in those thoughts. There isn't a wisdom in it, because the wisdom requires you to step back from the world a little bit, back from a situation. So the level where that wisdom comes from, I would call like that's the spirit level, because it's the next higher level of the mind that is starting to connect with a higher truth, with something beyond the body. So it allows us to take a step back from the desires and aversions of the material world. So I'd call that the spirit level. And it's a little bit removed from body. And the higher level after that, the next higher, it's not like higher as in better, higher as in more subtle, less material. That's all. Then that's a soul level. And the soul level is like the last level where we identify as I, as separate from all, from the one, from the divine. But it is connected to the divine. At that level, you are part of the divine. But you're still you. So I think that's the level where you really can be at peace with the world, where you can trust the divine. And that's also a level where like a deep wisdom comes from, because it's there, because you know that you're part of something bigger, something that just works, that like something that is loving and kind in the end, even if it's sometimes not easy to see, like the monkey mind, just the mind that's connected to this world, finds it hard often to see the bigger picture of how it's all fine, basically. And so the soul is the highest level of still being an I, still being separate. And after that, it's emerging into the one, into that experience of, I am part of the whole, but the I is no longer there. It's just part of the whole. It's like, you could look at it, those two levels, you can kind of look at it like a cell, like cells are in the body. There is a part where a cell is completely separate. You can put it under a microscope and you can't tell, most of us can't tell what body the cell belongs to, unless you know where it comes from. So that's the purely physical level. And then as the levels get higher, there is a part where the cell, the cell belongs to the body. It is part of a bigger conglomerations of cells. And then when you step one step further out and you just see the whole body, then the cell as one disappears. But it's still, it's still an entity, it's still important, but it's not, we don't have the experiences of it being separate anymore. So that is merging with the one consciousness. And that is really the greatest peace. That's where when you meditate regularly, that's where you get a lot of your inner peace and serenity. Because it's really a feeling of love and being part of something that's so much bigger than your worries. They say that if people that tap into that and really see it for the first time, they just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. They call it a Satori moment. Because out of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, really have I worried about that? And it's like, it's such relief in that laughter. Because you see that the worry was it's just a monkey mind. It's not that serious. So the world makes more sense if you see yourself as a being that operates from all of those levels. Because every level has a different perspective. And, you know, like lots of people feel like they're, you know, I'm in this world, I'm in the physical world. But you're human. You operate from mind as well. You're thinking. I mean, you're aware of your thinking. So the only choice that you have is to ignore those levels or not. But they're there to serve you. They're there for your use, for your happiness. So I can only recommend using them, exploring them and getting familiar with them, and getting really settled, like finding ways of really being settled in those more subtle levels of the mind, because that's really where you find your rest and your knowledge and your wisdom and the peace of mind.